the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
What's up, my sports fan? We're back with another episode of DD30 on the Dirty Network. All right, with your boy Ragz, the host, yet again. And we got some great topics to talk about. Starting off the month of March, we have March Madness coming up, but we also have some spring training baseball, which means baseball season is finally here. My favorite season, of course. So we're definitely going to have some fun talking about some baseball topics with some expectations and some players to look out for. Also, we do have some news in basketball and football as well. March is Women History Month, so I do want all of my lady sports fans out there or lady fans of the Dirty Network to go ahead and leave me some comments and give me some topics about some great female sports athletes or icons in the world who are females. I would love to talk about them on my show. If you feel good enough to talk about it yourself, I would love to have you on my show to talk about it as well. So sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, go ahead and pull up a chair, grab your friend, and we're going to go ahead and get it started with Down and Dirty on the Dirty Network. DD30, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, my sports fans, to the Dirty 30 Sports Talk Show with your boy Ragz. And to kick it off for the Down and Dirty, it wouldn't be right if I didn't talk about baseball off the top of the show, right? Because spring training officially started February 28th, and now the sun is out, balls are flying, we hear the crack of the bat, and it is officially baseball season. My favorite time of the year, right? Not only is the sun out and you have beautiful weather here in Florida, sorry people up north who are still dealing with some snow, but you also have a great game on almost any hour of the day. So once 12 o'clock hits, I'm already looking for the next spring training game to check out some hot prospects, to check out some star athletes, to see who's going to have a big season, who's going to slump, who's going to be prepared for an MVP type run. And it's definitely exciting. I love spring training. I love the new season of baseball because everybody's in the race, right? You're going to see a lot of trades. You're going to see a lot of free agents get picked up. You're going to see a lot of madness during this time of the year. So it's definitely a lot of fun, right? So to kick off our topics, I am going to talk about baseball on the Down and Dirty today. So with MLB season coming up, I do want to talk about the top 100 rankings. So if you have been keeping up with baseball, Mike Trout has been the best player in baseball for almost a decade, it seems like, right? I think it's officially a decade now. I think he's officially played 10 years in the league. Again, I'll have to look that up just to be sure. But this is a big season for Mike Trout. He was ranked number 1 on the top 100, of course, But everybody knows this about Mike Trout. It's not about what he's doing in the regular season. It's about what he and his team is going to do in the postseason. From my understanding, he only has 1 or 2 series of being in the postseason. So he needs more at-bats. We all, as baseball fans, want to see Mike Trout in the playoffs because we want to see the best players with the pressure on them, right? With the chips on the line and to see how they perform. So, Derek Jeter wasn't just a great baseball player because he put up fantastic regular season numbers. He also produced in the playoffs, which gave him his nickname Mr. October, or Mr. November, I'm sorry. Mr. October is Reggie Jackson. You can't take that from him. So, Mike Trout is definitely somebody I got my eye on this year. Will he be able to carry his team to the playoffs? I think they have a window. We'll talk about rankings a little bit later when it comes to who I think will win the divisions and projections and Pakoda rankings and all that stuff. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the top 100 ranking. Again, I'll put up some visuals so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So there's a lot of discussion about the young stars in baseball right now as well. We actually have 3 guys under the age of 25 in the top 10 this year, right? So I believe we have Tatis, Acuna, and Soto back to back, 6th, 7th, I believe 8th, 7th, and 6th. Again, I'll put it up so we know. But these are these three young talents are the face of baseball right now. They are the next, right? So when Mike Trout retires, these guys are going to be who you look at as the best players in the game. So out of Tatis, Acuna, and Soto, the big discussion or the popular topic is which one would you take out of the three, right? If you were building a team for the next 10 years and you could only have one of these great young talents, who would you start off with? Now, just to say, there's no wrong answer when it comes to this, right? Because you have three ascending talents. You have Tatis, right? Tatis Jr. is not only going to give you that flair, but he's going to give you some great production as long as he stays healthy. That's his bugaboo. He has to stay on the field. So sometimes, or if I was a veteran on his team, like Manny Machado, I would let him know the most important thing is to have you playing 160 games at least, right? So sometimes you can't dive for each play and make each play and, run out each ground ball or stay in each pickle, right? You have to know when to let up. You have to know when to reserve your body. Because when it comes to baseball, 162 games is a long season. That's an everyday grind, right? So you're gonna get beat up, you're gonna get battered, you're gonna get bruised. So the main thing is help yourself stay on the field, right? So that's the most important thing. So Tatis is a star. Now you also have Acuna Jr. Also has the flair, also has the swagger, big time power, big time speed, star athlete, cannon in right field. Can't say anything bad about the guy, right? Some people might say he hot dogs it, but I think he knows that, again, you have to play 160 games for your team, to be successful, right? It's about you being available for your team. So I can tell that that's very important to him, and it should be, right? So that's definitely exciting, Acuna. And then we also have Juan Soto, right? Now, Juan Soto might be the best pure hitter in the league, right? In the entire league, not just out of this top three. So Juan Soto is a great story. He's a young athlete. He has confidence, he has swagger, and he rakes. Just put it down like that. He bangs, right? So who would I take out of these three is the question. If you know me, everybody know I like flash, I like swagger, I like, the idea of feeling good and playing good, right? I'm going to take Tatis out of these three, and here's why. Of course, he plays shortstop, which is a premium position, but not only does he do that, he has the ability and the body frame and the talent to hit 50 bombs if he wants to. He's still figuring things out. He hasn't even played a full 162 games yet, right? Since, we had the COVID season cut short, and we also had, he was hurt his rookie season too, right? So he didn't really play as many games. But from what you see on the field, big time power to all fields. He'll steal your bag easily. Shortstop, premium arm. I mean, he threw a ball across the diamond at like 98 miles per hour. Like, he has a cannon of an arm. He can make any throw. He can make any play. He can hit off anybody, right? That's the type of guy I want on my team. I'm going to put Tatis at short, and I'll worry about everybody else later, right? So that's who I'll take. Make sure you comment. Tell me who you take. I know a lot of people said they'll take Soto just because he's a beast. He's a great hitter, lefty pop. People take a it's a very good discussion to have, right? So, also, looking at the top 100, all right, we also like to do projections on this show. Of course, if you know me, I like to guess. I like to make projections. So I can always come back to the video and see how I did, right? So, on the top 100, another thing I want to say, who is going to make that next jump, right? And there's a couple of guys that I want to talk about right off the top of the show. Because there's somebody that I look at this list and say, they could probably be a little bit higher by the end of next year, right? So we're going to talk about a couple people. Of course, got to talk about my man Lindor, right? Francisco Lindor. So he was ranked number 15th on the top 100 list by MLB Network. And 15th was not a bad number for him. He didn't have eye-popping numbers last year during the COVID season. But 15, I think, Lindor in New York in the Mets color. I mean, he looks great in the Mets colors. We haven't seen him yet. He got the stirrups on. He already dyed his hair. He looks good, right? So I think he's going to be, maybe you might see Lindor in top 5 next year if he blows up in New York. I mean, the market is there. If he hits 300 with 30 bombs, he will probably be in the top 5, I think. So look for Lindor to make a jump from that list from number 15. Probably, definitely in the top 10. I'll guarantee that he'll be in the top 10 next year. But look for a top 5 jump, like a star type MVP type season from Lindor this year. That's what I'm looking for. Also, I seen Walker Buehler ranked number 40 on the list. Now, Walker Buehler is still a very young pitcher. His prime is still ahead of him. Don't get me wrong. He has great talent. He's been in the league for a couple years now. He has postseason success. He's one of the best postseason pitchers in the past couple of years ever since he's been up. Right? He always performs, it seems like. Heavy fastball, high 90s, wipeout slider. Locates well. What more can you ask for, right? Walker Buehler ranked at 40. I believe he's somebody that I could jump into that top 20. Maybe be a top 2, top 3 pitcher in the league next year. Of course, behind guys like DeGrom and maybe Shane Bieber. I see Walker Buehler right there in that top 5 of quality starters. Definitely looking for Walker Buehler to make a jump from number 40 to get a little bit higher than that. And one of my favorite players to watch, Eloy Jimenez, Chicago White Sox left fielder, big time power, second, or I believe this would be his 3rd season, counting the COVID season. He's ranked at 53 on the top 100 right now. Now, this guy, he can put up some eye-popping numbers. His teammate, Jose Abreu, won MVP last season, and I think all the guys from the White Sox, they gravitate around Jose Abreu. He's a great captain. He's a great leader. Eloy Jimenez will definitely learn a lot from him to be able to put up eye-popping numbers or great numbers in this league. He has the build, he has the talent, and the thing is, his swing is not too violent to me. He's a big guy that knows he just has to make contact to hit it over the wall, right? So Eloy Jimenez at 53, I'm projecting that he might be in the top 25 next year as well and make a big jump and leap, right? So Pakoda Rankings are out again. We'll talk about Pakoda Rankings later. I don't want to talk too much about that on the top of the show. But there were some surprises, some hiccups that we will talk about. Like, they have Milwaukee winning the NL Central over the Cardinals, who just got Nolan Arenado. Again, we'll talk about that later. I think that's a bit of a stretch. The Pakoda also had the Braves, the Atlanta Braves, who won the division 2 years in a row, finishing 4th this year in the NL East. That's definitely something that we're going to talk about later. That's a bit crazy if you ask me. And Pakoda has the Angels in the playoffs. So there's definitely some great topics to talk about. I'll get to those later, so make sure you stick around to hear about those topics, especially if you're a baseball fan. Or if you're a Ragz fan, you're a Ragz fan, just go ahead and stick around and chill with me, right? So those projections will be coming soon or later on in the show. Also, there's some great prospects to look at, especially when it's spring training. You want to make sure you know all the prospects that you want to check out because you're going to see a lot of young guys playing. The stars have like 2 or 3 at-bats, and then they get subbed out for some young prospects, and we want to see what they can do. We want to see if they can hit. We want to see if they can field. We want to see some great arms, some great pitchers. So we'll definitely discuss some prospects to look out for too. Like Wander Franco from the Tampa Bay Rays, switch hitter, second baseman, the number 1 prospect in the league. I'm definitely going to be watching some of his games in spring training. Again, I'll make sure I keep you guys updated. Mackenzie Gore, left-hand pitcher from San Diego Padres, flamethrower, big-time talent, big-time arm. Crazy how San Diego still has prospects after all those trades they made, but, that's what happens. Also, the catching prospect from Baltimore, Rutschman. I probably said his name wrong. Switch hitting catcher, big time pop. He's definitely somebody I want to look out for during spring training. And also Randy Rosarena, right? I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays are stacked with young talent. Randy is a very intriguing player because he had such a great postseason. And a lot of people are wondering, can he compete that? A lot of people are wondering, can he repeat that success during the season? Can he hit 30 home runs? Can he hit over 220? Things like that. So he's another one to watch. I want to see how he gets going in spring training. And if you guys play fantasy baseball, Look out for that because my fantasy show will be coming too, because I love to update players and watch, sneaky guys and who to look for and things like that, right? So that's enough of baseball at the top of the show. Just to let you know, we will be talking about basketball as well. All-star selections have came out. The reserves that came out, so we know the starters, we know the reserves. We had some injuries, so we know the full roster at this time. The teams have not been picked yet, but there are some topics that we do want to talk about around the All-Star game. Like, should they even be having the All-Star game? Do the players want the All-Star game? Is it healthy? Is it safe? Does it make sense to have the All-Star game during a pandemic? We'll definitely get into that. Also, a lot of people have been talking about, hey, since KD's not there, should he be picking his team? Should he have the selection? Things like that. So we'll definitely get into that as well. Of course, we have football talk with a lot of free agencies making a move. J.J. Watt just signed with the Cardinals. So we definitely have football news on the radar as well. A bunch of stuff to talk about. A lot of fun here today. So sit back and relax. The Dirty 30 is coming back after DDTV. The place to be is your network. Come on, baby.
The good, the bad, the dirty, how you live. You got the good, the bad, the dirty.
Back to Dirty 30 fans. Alright, it's your boy Ragz again. And before we get back into some topics, I do want to say again, shout out to all my women out there working hard. It is National Women Month, National Women History Month, I should say. Again, I'm not going to do a dirt bag today because I would like the fans to get involved. Send me a message on Facebook, email, leave a comment, and let me know which female athlete I should spot or which female athlete I should highlight on my show, right? In the Dirt Bag segment. Of course, everybody knows that segment is meant for the people who aren't getting enough love, the people who are getting overlooked. So this is a fan-friendly show. I love my fans to get involved in this. Let me know a female athlete that needs their shine, who's done some great things. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's an assistant, maybe it's a player, whoever, right? Send it to my Facebook, send it to my Instagram, leave a comment. I will get with you. We'll talk about it and, see if we could get a segment going for that. So, without further ado, we're going to get to the dirt, right? Now, let's talk about football first in the dirt, right? Get that out the way. Because, of course, I want to talk about the draft first, okay? Because we've had a lot of mock drafts come out over the past couple of weeks. My favorite mock draft has Jaguars taking Trevor Lawrence in every single one, which is how it should be. I mean, if anybody thought Trevor Lawrence wasn't going to go number one, you just haven't been paying attention. You've been under a rock. People talking about, listen, you haven't been paying attention, all right? Trevor Lawrence, they're saying they haven't rated a quarterback this high since Peyton Manning, since Andrew Luck, right? So he's Andrew Luck 2.0, with more tangibles, with a stronger arm, with, more mobility, right? I see him as an Andrew Luck type player. The main thing is staying healthy. I know he had his surgery on his non-throwing shoulder. They said it went well. If you are a Jaguar fan, make sure you follow Trevor Lawrence on Instagram or social media, because it is our jobs as fans to make sure that he's going through this process smoothly and has a positive attitude. And when I look at his comments, I just see a lot of fans outside of Jacksonville who are saying, oh, you're going to lose every game. There's a lot of negativity already that's going to him because he's playing for the Jaguars. So if you're a true Jaguars fan, it's our job to encourage him. Hey, you're gonna do great here. You look good in teal. Can't wait to have see you on the beach. Kick it. I'm gonna do my part, and I'm gonna encourage him every chance I get. So you gotta understand, there's people out there hating on us already. There's people already wanting us to lose, and they're just mad that they don't have Trevor Lawrence or their team. They want him to. Hey, you should tank for it, or you should. It was just a bunch of mess I seen on his comments. So make sure we check that out. So, another interesting thing about the mock draft, of course, they ranked quarterbacks very high this year. There was a mock draft where I seen 4 quarterbacks being taken in a row. like 1, 2, 3, 4. So there was 2 teams that traded up and picked the quarterback, right? So of course, Trevor Lawrence is going number 1. So the big discussion is about the quarterbacks that are going after him. So you have Zach Wilson, you have Justin Fields, you have Trey Lance, you have Mac Jones, Kyle Trask, et cetera, right? So the main thing is, which quarterback in that second tier, we like to call it, would be the right pick, right? So and we've talked about this before, right? For my money, I'm going to take Justin Fields because I would rather, if there are guys that are close in comparison, I would take the guy who's been through more competitive situations, like tougher games, national championships, big games, big pressure, right? Unfortunately, Zach Wilson, I haven't seen him play anybody. I've seen his tapes, but it's like, yeah, you run good to beat these guys that you're playing at BYU, but you're not even really beating them all the way. So, I mean, I don't know. Zach Wilson, they say he's the second best quarterback. I got to see it to believe it. I would still take Justin Fields second, Trey Lance third before I take Zach Wilson. And maybe even Mac Jones because, like I said, Mac Jones, he's played in the SEC. He's been there. He's been against tough competition, right? BYU, I don't even know what conference they play in, unfortunately. Comment it if you know. I don't know where they play. I don't know. I don't care, all right? But I know Justin Fields, he's been through it. And, I mean, I think Justin Fields gets a bad rap because there's been a lot of bad Ohio State quarterbacks. Let's just be real. So there's been some awful Ohio State quarterbacks that just make him look bad. And I think he's different. He's built. He's got the size. He's got the speed. He's got great accuracy. We've seen him tear up Clemson. I mean, he's not bad. I mean, everybody has developments that they need, so I don't think he's going to be, right out the gate, number one, first day, starting off. But he's a guy that if he goes to the right situation, I think he'll do well. Maybe like the Steelers or something like that. But let's see if he slides that low. I doubt it. So another topic is, when it comes to draft, people are saying, will the Jets trade out of that number 2 pick and then just get a receiver instead and keep Sam Darnold? If I were the Jets, I think I would keep Sam Darnold just to give him a pass because you just fired your coach, Adam Gase, and everybody knows the history of Adam Gase. He's not good with quarterbacks. Let's just say it like that, right? He had Ryan Tannehill in Miami, and you know what happened with that. It seemed like Ryan Tannehill was a complete bust until he left, and now he's starting in Tennessee. Like, where was this guy at for the longest, right? So it was the Adam Gase effects to me. So what you do is you give Sam Darnold a fresh slate. Go ahead and trade out that number 2 pick. Get you some more assets. Get you a wide receiver a little bit in the mid round of the first round, which you can still get a top receiver like Jalen Waddle or Jamar Chase if he's still there, luckily. Devontae Smith might go top 5. But those guys will be there, So there's some weapons there. You also have Kyle Pitts there. There's some weapons on offense that you could get Sam Darnold to see if he's actually a bust or not, right? You might as well give that a shot before you try something different, okay? So that's that. So what else do we have there? The Jets. Like I said the Jets should trade out. If you don't think so, let me know. But there's a bunch of star receivers and some great things out there. So yeah, football free agency. So it looks like J.J. Watt signed with the Cardinals. Made a big move, made some big money. It's definitely a good idea for him because I believe he was able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone at this point. He was able to make a lot of money. I believe the deal is worth over $15 million a year at the least. Not only that, the Cardinals are a sneaky team. They have young talent. Everybody knows Kyler Murray, the pocket QB, right? And everybody knows DeAndre Hopkins. So they have great talent. They have great speed on the edge, and also their defense is pretty scary at this point. They have great pass rushers and great guys on the secondary who can make plays like Budda Baker and Patrick Peterson. But the main thing we're looking for with the Cardinals is they're playing in a tough division. They have to go through the Rams, they have to go through the Seahawks, which who knows about the Seahawks with the Russell Wilson thing going on. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, they're in a tough division, basically what I'm saying. I mean, the 49ers, you never know with them, but they're still in a tough division. So the Cardinals was definitely an interesting team. It's an interesting sign with J.J. Watt. I don't think he went exactly for the top heavy team like people were expecting him to do, to kind of like ring chase Cersei. But I think he landed in a nice spot that he could help a team out, still make good money. You know, Arizona's nice weather. All right, got to remember that. So yeah, I think it's definitely a big move for him, and congratulations to J.J. Watt on that. So also free agency, there's some great wide receivers that are looking to make a move, right? So if you're not able to get a wide receiver in the draft, there's wide receivers in free agency. My Jaguars should definitely be looking at both options, I would say. Just at least bring one guy in. Of course, we have Allen Robinson on this free agency list, drafted by the Jaguars, then signed by the Chicago Bears, and now he's a free agent again. Allen Robinson, you put up some great numbers with some bad quarterbacks. All right, let's just call it what it is. If you come back to Jacksonville, things are going to be amazing. It's going to be the best show on turf, right? Because you have not only Allen Robinson, you have some underrated receivers. DJ Shark, who's already been to the Pro Bowl with Gardner Minshew as his quarterback, all right? I don't think guys understand how crazy that is. He made a Pro Bowl already. You have Laviska Shenault, who had an amazing rookie season. I mean, if you watch his games, he looks like another guy who wears number 10. I'm going to just put that out there. I mean, he has great hands. He's great build, physicality, strong. You know, he's fast. He's going to be somebody to watch. I'm telling you guys, he's probably the best receiver that came out of that class, and he was a second-round pick. So I got to give a shout-out to the Jaguars for making that pickup during the draft. I think we're definitely going in the right direction when it comes to talent, when it comes to weapons. You know, we have James Robinson back there as well. And Trevor Lawrence is going to be our new play caller, so got to love that. Also, we have Chris Godwin. Godwin just won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. He's looking to make some money. But there's been some reports out there. He's actually made comments that the money is not the biggest thing for him, right? Which is it's kind of refreshing to hear that sometimes from players, because you play the game to win, right? I mean, as all competitors here, you want to win the game. You want to hold the trophy up at the end of the day. That's the reason why you train so hard, right? So for somebody to say, look, I'm not here for the money, and then let people know, I'm not here for the money. I'm here. I want to be back here. I want to win. If I was Tampa Bay, I would definitely try to bring him back. But there will be more suitors for him, like teams that need weapons, like New England. You know, I don't know if the Jaguars will want to pay that much money, because he's going to be a featured weapon. Maybe the Dolphins. I'd look at the Dolphins as well as a potential for Godwin. Also, AB, Antonio Brown. Is crazy how he was set up to make so much money. It seems like only 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And now he's a free agent. I believe he's 32, I think. Not too sure. Don't quote me on that. But he's not in his prime to make as much money as he was before, right? So, AB, will he stay in Tampa Bay with Tom? I think so. He'll be a cheap option, and I don't think anybody else trusts him, right? I mean, you can only really trust him with Tom Brady. Tom Brady seems like he's the only one that can control him, so he goes back to Tampa. Yeah. So those are a couple free agents that I want to talk about. Of course, there's some quarterback news, but I'm not going to talk about the quarterback news on this show today. Maybe in a couple weeks, because there's so many quarterbacks that want to move. Like now we're hearing Russell Wilson might want to trade. I'm not hearing any of that. I feel like that's just a lot of media clout, right? They need something to talk about because they hate talking about baseball on ESPN for some reason. I don't know. There's some great baseball going on. Great stories to look out for, and we're still talking about will Russell Wilson get traded, and he's not. All right, he ain't getting traded. Deshaun Watson's probably not getting traded either. All right, let's just be real. Like everybody wants everybody to get traded on TV. Like brother, like just because somebody's talking, they're not. That's our internet. We just love to see people get traded and stuff and drama. So I'll talk about that next week. All right. So let's talk about a little bit. Let's talk about basketball next, right? Because the All-Star game is approaching, and this is a topic that I want to discuss as well. with this type of season and this type of circumstances, a lot of players have talked out about their discomfort of playing in an All-Star game at this time. Um, a lot of players, like LeBron, said that they were unclear that there would even be an All-Star game this year. For their understanding, it was most likely that they wouldn't have an All-Star game this year, right? So I'm kind of torn on this one because one part of me, of course, the fan, I would love to see an All-Star game. Of course, the basketball players and the best players. It's not like I was going to go to the game anyway, but to see them on TV, the highest players at the highest level, the best, you're going to get a great game. Now, on the other hand, if it does put you guys at risk, I mean, there's been a lot of games postponed just because of contact tracing. Now, if you want to have an all-star game in Atlanta, there's going to be some contact tracing afterwards. I'm going to tell you that because there's clubs to go to, there's parties to be at. You're not going to just send basketball players in a bubble hotel and say, you got to stay here while you're in Atlanta this whole weekend. I don't see that happening, right? So if you're going to have this thing in Atlanta, just be prepared to do a lot of contact tracing because people will go out and people will see people and people will have fun, right? So that's my thing around the All-Star game. They probably, to answer the question, they probably should have it, right? I mean, they probably shouldn't have it. It doesn't make sense to have it. But we know why they're having it. It's all about the money, point blank, 100%. Nothing else about it. It's not about the fans. It's not about what you want. It's about the money, right? They have TV deals that can make them, millions, almost billion, millions of dollars, right? So they're not going to lose out on millions of dollars just to keep you safe. Is what it is, right? That's just the world we live in. So should they have the All-Star game? No. Will they? Yeah. Were there a lot of snubs this year? There was some snubs starting off, but I think they got it right after the injuries to Anthony Davis and Kevin Durant officially ruled them out. They added Sabonis and they also added Devin Booker to the team. So the team seems right to me. I'm not going to sit here and argue and complain about what the All-Star team looks like and what it should look like. I think it's a pretty decent team. Yeah. So KD's not going to play. I don't think he should have played anyway. But should KD, he could still captain the team. He got the most votes, all right? I've seen a lot of people say, oh, since he's not playing, he should not pick it. He can still pick his team. He can still pick the starters. I don't see anything wrong with that. He was voted the most. It's his honor to do that. He was voted captain, right? So a lot of people are just haters. Yeah. So, all right. So, last but not least, we're going to talk about my favorite sport, baseball. Again, and if you ain't noticed, you know who I'm rocking with. You know me, right? The Sox, baby. You know who I'm rocking with this year. Even though, we might not have the best season, I think we're going to be pretty sneaky. So, watch out for my Sox this year. So, spring training is started, and this is a great time to talk about some things that I'm excited to look for, right? And again, if you got some comments, you got any questions, anything, make sure you leave it underneath, right? You tell me your expectation. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm stupid, right? Tell me something, all right? So there's a couple things I'm excited to see. Gotta be excited about the NL East race, right? If you're a big baseball fan, you know that the NL East has been intriguing for years, right? But this year might be the most intriguing year. I mean, it seems like each team has done something to get a little bit better. The Marlins might not be there yet, but they're a young team. They're still working, right? So you give the Marlins a pass. But, you have 4 very strong teams at the top. You have the team that won the division last year, which was the Atlanta Braves. You have the Washington Nationals, who just won a World Series 2 years ago. You also have the Mets, who's making the biggest news when it comes to the new NL East with acquiring Francisco Lindor. They also got James McCann and Carlo Carrasco. So they've made some deals. They've made some moves. They might not be done. Look for them to make another move around the trade deadline, especially if they're in it. So the Mets are definitely intriguing. I might be picking the Mets for the NL East, but again, we'll wait for that. Also, will the Mets get Chris Bryant? I think that would take them over the edge if the Mets would be able to get a deal for Chris Bryant. I know they've been asking, And I'm pretty sure the Cubs are still trying to trade Chris Bryant like he's the MVP. So I know a lot of teams are probably hesitant to actually make that deal as of now. But if the trade deadline comes up and the Cubs are out of it and the Mets are definitely in it, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Chris Bryant make that move over to the Mets, right? If I see that trade. So that's definitely exciting. And again, like we were talking about the Pakoda rankings, they have the Braves finishing fourth in the East and missing the playoffs. I mean, this was the same team that was up 3-1 to the Braves last year, and it seems like they have most of their team back. They brung Charlie Morton in, a starter who has postseason experience and somebody who's going to get it done during the regular season. I think the Braves are overlooked in this. Now, I feel like it's going to be them and the Mets at the top, with the Nationals and the Phillies also fighting as well. As a very good division. The Phillies, they again spent some money. They brung back JT Realmuto for big time cash, which they had no choice. They had to, or their fans were gonna kill them, right? And Bryce Harper was gonna kill him. Like everybody wanted Realmuto back, and now he is back. You traded big prospects for him, so he had all the leverage in the world at that point. So definitely something to look out for. Another intriguing story is the Padres versus the Dodgers. Now, is this the new rival of baseball? Is this the new top rival? Has this taken over Yankees and Red Sox? Not in my eyes. Yankees and Red Sox is such a big rival. It's the biggest rivalry in sports history, period. I don't care what you say, right? But Dodgers and Padres, they're looking very, very intriguing as well. The Padres, they are not just going to say, they're not just going to bow to the king, basically, right? Or kiss the ring. They're coming to take the Dodgers out. They made some big moves for starting pitching. If you've been watching my show, you already know those moves. Like Blake Snell, Yu Darvish are now both Cy Young candidates every year, it seems like. Now they'll be pitching for San Diego Padres in a very good pitcher-friendly park, just to keep in mind. So, and a pitcher-friendly division, okay? The West, the Dodgers, they have some big ballparks out there. San Francisco. Of course, you have the Colorado, but their pitching staff is not that good anyway. So, I mean, if you bring a good pitching staff into that stadium, you could win some games, right? So, the Padres and the Dodgers are very intriguing, especially, if they're both healthy, if Padres have a healthy team with Tatis staying healthy, Machado, etc. The Dodgers are deep, so they're just too good at this point. I don't know if the Dodgers are going to give up the NL West that easy, but it's definitely something to look for. And also, another intriguing story, I talked about it before, of course, was Mike Trout and the Angels. Will they make the postseason this year? Now, they made some minor moves to the pitching staff, adding Alex Cobb. Not the move we have expected just yet. Maybe there are some moves coming up. I mean, Jake Odorizzi is still a free agent. Spring training games have started. I don't know if he's still thrown on the side. But he's somebody that can get you innings. I mean, if I'm the Angels, I'm looking for... Give me everybody that can throw, right? Because as long as we keep people off the board, as long as we're not giving up 6-7 runs a game, the Angels have a strong lineup. They should be able to win. They have a strong lineup, a good defense. They should be able to win games. So, I'm expecting the Angels to make it to the playoffs this year. Their division has gotten a little bit weaker. This is the time. Will they win a division? Probably not. I might take the Astros when it comes to that. But they're a strong team. They need to get into the playoffs this year. There's no more waiting around, especially if they decide to expand the playoffs again this year. No excuse. Come on. All right. So, another great thing to talk about here and wrap it up are some early MVP projections, right? Our predictions. So, of course, I got to talk about some of my favorite guys in the NL. We have Acuna talking about he wants to go 50-50. So, he wants to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bags. Now, if that's something that he accomplishes, go ahead and give it to him right there. He'll have the MVP, right? But that's a very tall task. You have to stay healthy. You have to get on base a lot to steal 50 bags. And then you have to keep your legs while you're trying to steal those bags. So, and that's where all your power comes from, the bottom half. So, 50-50, I think Acuna is definitely capable of doing it. Tatis is capable of doing it too. Will he do it? I doubt it. but he's definitely in the MVP talks. I gotta put Tatis in there as well. And like I said, as long as he stays healthy, he's a guy that'll put up some big numbers for 162 games. So that's definitely something that I'm looking out for. Big numbers from those two guys, those two young guys in the NL. And also Francisco Lindor. He's somebody that will be in the talks for MVP by the end of this year. Again, shortstop for the New York Mets. That automatically gets the antennas going, right? Lindor is #1 MVP from what I know. I think he's got close a couple times when he was in the Indians, but this is a whole different ball game. He's gonna tear up the NL. I think he's gonna go crazy in New York. I mean, it is just the perfect scene for him, the perfect uniform, perfect everything. If he was wearing those pinstripes, I just couldn't stand it. It's the perfect it's the perfect New York team, the perfect uniform, perfect place for him. So I would say I'm putting Lindor as my MVP favorite for the NL right now. Tatis second, Acuna third. So, and when we talked about the AL, my prediction for the AL, again, we're looking at Mr. Mike Trout. Now, Mike Trout seems like he ends in the top 5 of MVP every year, right? This year has to be different. This has to be MVP, sure enough, Barry Bonds type season where you take your team to the playoffs and there's no doubt about you being the MVP, right? So I'm definitely looking for Mike Trout as a early MVP candidate in the AL. Also a sleeper, Eloy Jimenez. We talked about him earlier on the show in the top 100. He's very intriguing. Like I said, his teammate won the MVP last year, and I know all the young guys, especially the young Latino players, they all respect Jose Abreu and they all ask for his leadership and his help. So I'm sure he's getting a lot of guidance, especially after last season. He's gonna go. He will go crazy this year. Eloy Jimenez will put up big numbers. He might hit 50 bombs, right? He's definitely gonna hit 40. He says that he's hit 40. Period. But he might hit 50. Okay, he might hit 50 for you. So that's somebody that I'm gonna be looking for as well in the AL. And of course, you got to talk about DJ LeMahieu since he's been so consistent. It's almost like you could never count him out as an MVP. He is the Yankees' best hitter at this point. And, if you're playing for the Yankees, you're going to get some consideration for MVP, especially when your team is winning. So I'm definitely looking at DJ LeMahieu as a candidate. He's always been able to hit. He took a big pay cut just to stay in New York, if you ask me, because he could have got big money somewhere else. But with that being said, takes the pressure off of him. He's not looked at as this high player that's getting paid too much. He's looked at as a regular guy. So I'm definitely looking for DJ LeMahieu to make some noise. He'll finish third in my MVP race for the AL. And those are my predictions. So next show, we'll do Cy Young predictions. Again, this is a fan-friendly show. If you have predictions, if you think my predictions are dumb, tell me who you think will win the MVPs in the NL and the AL, right? So I just want to say shout out to you guys again. I'll make sure I'll add my highlights at the end of this show just so we have some great plays. I'm not only showing bloopers now. I'm going to go ahead and show the play of the day, or That's Dirty. That's what I like to call it. That's dirty. Ooh, that's dirty, right? So sit back and relax the dirty clip. And
tempo picking up a little bit. Harden with the hezzy. Spins into the paint. Euro steps.
All right, what's up, my Dirty 30 fans? Just want to say thank you guys for watching again. Another episode of DD30. Again, if you have not subscribed, make sure you do so. If you don't have your notifications yet up for my channel, please do so as well. Make sure you smash that like button if you enjoyed it, only if you enjoyed it. Smash that dislike button if you didn't, right? I need good feedback so I know what to do next. So again, I want to thank you guys for sitting in and listening to me talk about sports and do what I love. I can't wait to chop it up with you guys again for another great episode of Nerd. All right, peace.